Yates Control Systems, providing automation solutions for your manufacturing needs. This presentation will go over an introduction of the case, a macroeconomic overview, industry overview, company overview, financial analysis, and finally conclude with our suggestions for the firm. This case is based on Yates Control Systems. Catherine Yates, president of the company, has requested $1.5 million loan to fund the purchase of a new facility as part of a strategic expansion plan. YCS currently has a line of credit of $50,000 from the bank, but it has not used it in several years. There is an urgent need to expand as a result of increasing sales, associated equipment, and inventory. Administrative expenses are expected to be $105,000 annually. The cost of the loan is broken down as follows. The cost of the property is $2 million. This is comprised of $1.3 million for the building, including the cost of some expected renovations, and $700,000 for the land. Yates plans to fund $500,000 of this by the business internally and to borrow the remaining $1.5 million from the bank. Repayment terms will be $200,000 each year, and interest payments are expected to be $80,000 annually. In the case, Catherine estimates sales to increase 10% annually over the next 2 years. Additionally, a new agreement with suppliers will reduce cost of goods sold to their 2014 levels as long as payments are made within 30 days. Accounts receivable days will be reduced to 60 days, and the company will increase spending on research and development to 5% of sales beginning in 2018. The company plans to increase the dividend payments to $500,000 in each of the next 2 years as agreed upon by Yates and her partner. The Canadian economy as a whole was expected to grow by less than 3% in 2016 and 2017. Manufacturing was enjoying increased demand from the United States due to a relatively low Canadian dollar. There was some uncertainty in future growth due to low oil prices and a plan by Canada's largest trading partner, the United States, to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement. The U.S.'s plan to exit international environmental agreements also created future uncertainty for the Canadian economy. The graph on the right shows the volatility between the Canadian and U.S. dollar, which has a direct effect on this industry. The industry is control systems engineering. It's an area of technology typically studied in electrical engineering. It uses various sensors to measure outputs and provide feedback by applying mathematical models to control a range of devices. Control systems are used virtually everywhere in the modern world, including in in-home heating and air conditioning, car engines, factory automation, and nuclear power plants. The industry consists of many large and small players that often focus on a specific application where they have developed expertise. The worldwide control systems market has been growing at a rate of 3.9% annually, with total revenues anticipated to be $27 billion US by 2019. The market share concentration in the industry is split close to 50-50 between major and minor players. Some of the larger companies in the industry include ABB, Emerson Electric Company, Honeywell International Inc., and Siemens AG. These are all publicly traded corporations. ABB is headquartered in Switzerland and has a market cap of $65 billion. Emerson Electric Company is an American multinational corporation with a market cap of $57 billion. Honeywell is also an American multinational conglomerate. They're headquartered in North Carolina, and they have the largest market capitalization of $151 billion. Finally, Siemens is a German multinational conglomerate and has a market cap of $114 billion. Yates Control Systems operates in Mississauga, Ontario, and provides control systems and automation for manufacturing companies. YCS caters to manufacturers looking to improve efficiency through automation and better control of their processes. They have an annual revenue of $10 million and employ 45 people. Yates Control Systems uses a direct sales marketing strategy. They have a reputation for quality products and services, which has created a strong brand identity and stimulated positive word of mouth. Catherine herself is almost exclusively involved in the marketing of the business. The company has been able to add employees as their customer base has grown over the years. They operate in the Greater Toronto Area Kitchener-Waterloo, as well as Cambridge and Guelph in southwestern Ontario. Their main priority is providing technical solutions through continuous improvement in their engineering processes. YCS must continually provide competitive pricing and above-average service to maintain a strong position in the industry. They have 45 employees, including mostly recent university engineering graduates. Yates Control Systems was started by Catherine Yates, along with financial help from her family and of Brandon Wood. Catherine graduated in 1998 from McMaster University with a degree in electrical engineering. She worked at RWC Solutions, a company that designs, installs, and services automation, for 4 years after graduating. After completing her license to practice professional engineering, she launched Yates Control Systems in Mississauga, Ontario. Catherine continues to manage and lead operations at YCS. Brandon Wood graduated in 1998 from McMaster University with a degree in electrical engineering, alongside Catherine. He believed in Catherine's vision for a business and made a decision to invest in Yates Control Systems to help with its launch. Wood acts as a silent partner at YCS. YCS has many strengths, including young, energetic, and creative engineering employees, a reputation for excellent quality and outstanding service, creating positive word of mouth, significant sales growth over time, competitive pricing and above-average service, and strong geographic presence in the GTA and southwestern Ontario. However, the company does have the following weaknesses: difficulty recruiting experienced employees due to costs, a lack of focus in business systems, disorganized accounting services resulting in late payments to utilities and suppliers, and disagreements between Yates and Woods on the strategic direction of the firm. As far as opportunities for the firm, smaller firms in the industry can focus on more specific functions, thus developing expertise in that area. The industry has grown at 3.9% annually and is expected to reach $27 billion US by 2019. The company plans to purchase new property and to expand the business. A new agreement with suppliers will reduce cost of goods sold, and YCS plans to increase dividend payments in the next 2 years. Finally, the firm does face some threats. Firstly, the Canadian economy expected growth is less than 3% for 2016 and for 2017. Uncertainty in future growth due to low oil prices, the USA renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement, and purchase of the new property for expansion is dependent on the approval of the loan.
The financial portion of the case analysis, we're going to start with the statement of earning projections. Projections were made using the percentage of sales model. For both 2018 and 2017, we have sales increasing by 10% each year. When we look at admin expense and interest expense, we can see that these were both calculated differently than the rest. For admin expense, we had an increase above the projection of $105,000 per year. This $105,000 increase comes from the hiring of 2 new accountants. Interest expenditure was also $80,000 above the projection baseline. R&D for 2017 was projected normally. However, in 2018, the company wishes to increase its R&D expenditure to 5% of sales. This is shown in the R&D line of the statement of earnings. We believe that the 10% increase in sales per year is highly unlikely. So for the rest of the statements, we have projected using both the 10% increase in sales and the 3.9% increase in sales. We hope that the 3.9% projections will give us a better understanding of what will actually happen in real life. All other assumptions about the case were left exactly the same. The balance sheet is projected using the 10% growth in sales. We can see that fixed assets increases by $2 million. This is the $1.3 million from the building and the $700,000 from the land that the company wishes to purchase. To help fund this purchase, the company will dip into its $50,000 line of credit. This $2 million increase, $1.5 million will be taken on as long-term debt. You can see that the current portion of long-term debt beginning in 2017 has increased by $200,000. This $200,000 increase is the yearly payment paying off the long-term debt. Additional capital requirements are needed, so the owners are asked to put in $450,000 of their own money to fund the project. The company wishes to pay $500,000 in dividends in both 2017 and 2018. This can be shown in the dividend section of the balance sheet. Comparing the realistic growth balance sheet to the case assumptions balance sheet, we can see that there are very few differences. The sales are significantly less as expected since the sales rate is lower, but we can see that the cash plug value is significantly higher in both 2017 and 2018. The company still needs to dip into its line of credit, and the owners are still asked to put in a combined $450,000 to help with funding. When comparing side by side the cash flow statements from case assumptions and realistic assumptions, we can see that the ending balances vary greatly. This change comes from the difference in net cash flow from operations. This is expected since the figures involved in operating cash flows vary with sales. The main difference between the two comes from accounts receivable. We can see that in both 2017 and 2018, there is almost $150,000 difference in accounts receivable. Inventory is another place where there is a noticeable effect. There is approximately $100,000 difference between the two when it comes to inventory. Figures in operations vary, but never vary beyond $30,000. When we look at net cash flow from financing and from investing, these numbers are virtually the same. This is expected because none of the assumptions we made here were changed. All in all, we see $150,000 ending cash decrease in 2017 and a $250,000 ending cash decrease in 2018 using the realistic assumptions. Looking at the ratio analysis, we can see that the majority of the ratios are relatively stable over the years. Some ratios don't vary at all, while others vary by a very few percentage points. Where we see a great fluctuation downwards is in the current ratio and the acid test ratio. Both of these ratios took a rather steep decline after the company took on the new project. As expected, both measures of stability have declined after taking on the new project. Net worth over total assets has declined since the company added $2 million in new assets. And their interest coverage has also decreased after taking on $150,000 in loans. Highlighted in the growth portion of the ratio analysis, we have the sales growth in 2014 to 2015 and 15 to 16. These numbers were given in the case. However, when the real figures are calculated, it is shown that these numbers are wildly inaccurate. The real figures are 1% and 2% respectively. When taking into account these real figures, we can see why the 10% increase in sales for 2017 and 2018 become highly unlikely. Net income, total assets, and overall equity have taken a deep downturn after taking on the new project.
We are going to begin our conclusion with the 7 C's of credit. Character. The management has been with the company since inception, and it boasts licensed ownership and expertise in engineering automation. They have a strong debt track record with an unused line of credit and an initial loan of $750,000 in 2012. Capacity. YCS's operating and cash cycles have been historically high, and their accounts receivable and payable days are increasing from 2014 to 2016. Capital. The company does have low skin in the game, with a total of $25,000 in owner's equity, and plans to increase dividend distribution to $500,000 for the next 2 years. Conditions. The industry has been growing at a rate of 3.9% annually, with revenue in 2019 projected at $27 billion US. However, there has been slow growth in the Canadian economy, and there is uncertainty with North American trade. Credit. There has no stated credit rating since YCS is a private firm. Covenants. Within the case, there are no covenants currently proposed. However, we do have some suggestions for the firm on the following slide, which may be proposed on the loan. Collateral. The company does have assets that could be used as collateral, such as accounts receivable, inventory, and fixed assets, which are the new property that the loan is helping to fund.
Looking deeper into the case, we have come up with a list of suggestions for the owners. Firstly, the owners should lower their dividends level and increase their retention ratio. Paying $500,000 in dividends to 2 owners is really high and does not align with the company's growth aspirations. And secondly, the company owners should get more invested into the company. Currently, they each around have $10,000 to $15,000 in the company. The company is in need of $450,000 to kick off the new project. This funding should come from the investors. This increased equity will show future investors and banks that they are both serious about the success of their company. Thirdly, the owner should assume a more reasonable growth rate. 10%, as we have seen, is completely unreasonable for this company and for the industry in general.